definitely not the starters. You're on the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
What's happening? Happy Thursday. Good morning and welcome onto the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score, 107thescore.com, the 100.7 The Score mobile app, brought to you as always by Happy State Bank. You can carry that just about anywhere with you. Alongside Geoff McGuire, not Jeff Haxton today. I'm Chois Woodman. Got Lucas White across the way taking care of us as usual. You too can hit us up. Your thoughts, comments, questions, reaction, predictions, just about anything is welcome via that Yates Flooring Center chat line. You can get those in there. We've got plenty to dive into. We are a little over 50 plus hours away from getting Texas Tech and Baylor underway from Jones Stadium.
Your least favorite game of the year, right?
No, I like this one because you got a chance to whip up on the Bears. In terms of Big 12
No, you
hate,
personally, though.
Because
you're so torn.
In reality, when I'm talking Big 12 hate of the remaining teams, getting rid of OU and Texas, this might be the Bears and TCU, or they might be. I don't know which one I hate more. I don't know. Baylor's so tainted in football where I still haven't got over all of the mess that was there for a decade or so, and where Baylor doesn't even deserve to have a football program anymore. But where's your Baylor hate level at?
So I hold no money from Baylor in any way, shape, or form. I haven't taken a dime from them in any way of purpose, and nor would I really. So it's up there. TCU is definitely higher. When A&M left the Big 12 and TCU entered the Big 12, TCU did a very good job of absorbing that hate. Not that the Aggie hate went away, but there was a nice place to put it on the shelf, right next to the Horned Frog in the schedule. Texas is still one. Texas is going to stay one even after they're gone.
Okay.
There's just rules. Because of everything involved with the University of. In the future, where are we going to go with this is the next question. Yeah. I really see an opportunity in the future for rivalries to be reset, because there are a bunch of teams looking for a new yearly rival. And I lean toward Oklahoma State in that category.
I think OSU's a natural fit, but I just don't drum up the hatred for OSU. I think Tech's most natural, disdain type of team is going to be Houston. I feel like we've already got a lot of that going. I don't know. They're kind of bigger than their britches are, or try to act that way. Too big for their britches. I don't know what it is. Oklahoma State for me, and some people really don't like them, but besides the copycat thing, they're just like, eh. I mean, they're a good partner with Texas Tech on.
Right. It's the rivalry on the field that works very well together off the field.
Yeah.
And you and I have talked about this on several occasions, where the future of the Big 12, while the rivalries will be heated up, will be much less backroom dealing than we have seen in the past. It will be very much 12 teams walking in the same direction, pulling the same rope, going in the same way. And at least how we perceive it at this point, as opposed to one person saying, you guys all take the rope this way, and we'll be there in a minute.
So we'll talk some Red Raiders and Bears today. Looking forward to the matchup. Look at the numbers a little bit. Talk a little quarterback. All sorts. We'll dissect it different directions for Texas Tech and Baylor. Of course, we'll look around the Big 12 as well. Some interesting matchups across the league this weekend as we're back to a full slate of games, 5 games, featuring 10 conference opponents. So We'll get into that coming up in a little bit. I got some fresh odds from Vegas. We'll get to at some point in the show, project the college football playoff, kind of hit the reset button on that and what that looks like in terms of expectations for what teams we'll see when all the dust settles, and plenty more to get into over the next 3 hours or so. We're hanging with you till noon. Geoff will be here for the first hour. And then Josh will join us for a couple hours after that.
I know it's not your shtick to do this with Josh, but Josh is
my shtick.
It's not, because it's the next show's shtick
where
they do a thing. He's got animal facts, man. Oh my word, he's got animal facts.
Okay.
Like that, like the what was it, the mantis fish? Yeah, the mantis fish.
I did see the mantis ray.
Is it mantis?
That's what you showed me. No. It wasn't a fish.
No, whatever it was. The shrimp.
It looked like a shrimp.
The
I was
mantis
about
shrimp.
to say,
There
it
we
looked
go.
like a lobster. Yeah.
He can bring it there.
Manta ray.
Yeah, that's a different
mantis shrimp. Yeah. Okay.
So you may ask him if he's got another one.
Okay. Might just do that.
Now, it's going to scare you. And tis the season to be scared, right?
I think so. You a Halloween guy?
I want to be. Like, I like the costumes. I love the kids trick-or-treating.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in my head, growing up, trick-or-treating.
Yeah.
And I get that you can't do that anymore. You can't just go knock on every door in the neighborhood.
Sure you can.
Change costumes and then go to the ones that were good to get a second round.
Of course
you can't
you can.
do that anymore.
Absolutely. Why
Because
not?
there's crazy people out there, and I understand that.
Well,
but
you could still do that part where if you found a good one, just go for it.
yeah, but you only go to
Because
people
that means
you
they've
know
already
now.
answered. Yeah. I don't know. We don't.
You hit the whole neighborhood up.
Yeah. But we're comfortable in our neighborhood.
You also have like people come to your neighborhood to trick or treat too.
Yeah,
so
we do.
I mean,
our neighborhood is one that
it's
people
one of
come
the
to.
few times that the gates are open for the general public to get out there.
Stop it. No, we do live in a nice neighborhood, and it's one where we feel comfortable. But
Sure.
it's also you still have to find the good houses, because some are a little chinche where they don't want to give out the enough candy or the good candy. But then there's some that have the full size candy bars.
Oh, sure.
You got to hit those for sure.
But that's my favorite part of the Halloween. The adult version of Halloween very quickly becomes how little costume you're wearing at a certain point.
Yeah.
And no one wants to see this right here in less clothing. No one wants to see that.
Well, then do more clothing.
Right. But that's not what happens as an adult. Like, really the only costume I could wear with any accuracy would be Homer Simpson if I got a bald cap.
So Lucas asked the start bench cut question of Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween yesterday.
Start Thanksgiving?
Really?
Yes.
Yeah,
You get
actually
turkey
together.
and sports.
Okay.
Turkey and sports. Bench Halloween, and we're cutting bench Christmas, cutting
I was
Halloween.
about to say, you're cutting Christmas?
No, not cutting.
Okay.
Bench Christmas.
I think
and
all
cut
three
Halloween.
of us have cut Halloween, but I started Christmas.
Now, as a kid, start Christmas, bench Halloween, and I'm going to miss turkey at that point.
Get your questions in. We're also taking suggestions for Lucas's song punishment. So his on-air karaoke again, round 2. Don't think we can top the Hips Don't Lie, but
What about
try.
It's Raining Men?
We'll take it as a suggestion. That's actually a good one. The Weather Girls? Boys? I don't know. It's the end of the bench on 100.7 The Score.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Thanks for joining us on a Thursday. It is the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score and 107thescore.com. What you need to know. Your headlines for today. He's Geoff McGuire. I'm Chois. We'll start off with a big one for Texas Tech soccer, as the Red Raiders are on the pitch, as they say, in Fort Worth today, taking on 15th ranked TCU. This one a big one for 2 reasons. huge in the conference standings race and huge in the RPI for Texas Tech. Red Raiders were down in the 60s. TCU's up in the teens. If you're able to get this one, it might seal or get you really close to an opportunity for postseason play. So Texas Tech really needing to bolster the RPI. A win could go a long way on the road at TCU today. And then, of course, the standings, as I mentioned, pretty important there as well as the Red Raiders and TCU both 5-1-2 in conference play. Texas is 6-0-2, but the winner of this game will move into second place outright in the league standings. So a big one there. That one will be a 7 o'clock first touch. I believe it's watchable on ESPN Plus tonight, if that's your flavor. Red-Black Series gets underway today for some baseballs. If you want to go watch that, it'll be at 3:30. You can watch that one over at Dan Law Field at Rip Griffin Park, the first of a 3-game series. I guess there is some question whether they'll get Game 2 in tomorrow with rain. My phone tells me 100% chance of rain tomorrow.
That seems really high.
It does. So,
there's 85% chance is usually high.
Yeah, very high.
100% sounds like it's very high. Now that doesn't mean it's going to rain 100% of the day.
No, it means 100% of the area is going to get rain.
I thought it was 100% of the days that look like this on the calendar we got rain.
I've heard
I think that's how that goes.
I've heard from a weatherman specifically last year.
Is it the one that we used to work with?
Yes.
I would if that's what he said, then I will trust him.
That the area that you live in, 100% of it that will get rain. If it's 85%, then 85% of you will get some rain, some precipitation. I don't know.
That's off the Yates Flooring Center chat line, coverage area, guys. Okay.
Coverage area. I believe that's the case.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how it was explained to me. So,
if that's what that guy said, 100%. I'm no longer arguing this.
So 100%. I had heard what you said too, and that makes a lot of sense. But
100% of the days that were like this in the forecast, we got rain.
So, Texas Tech volleyballs loses last night to Texas in straight sets. They're on a bit of a slide right now. They've lost 4 straight matches and only won 3 sets in those 4 matches. So got to get off the mat. Not going to be easy as they take on Baylor next Wednesday, and Baylor's the second place team in the league. So
yeah, but Texas is like playing an Olympic team.
It is.
I mean, it's not. They're the one team from, I guess, women. No, because you got a win last year against women's hoops, so it's not quite as daunting of a task as it was. But
this is it.
The UT women's volleyball program, that one will be one I'm not sad to see go away.
Yep, that one's one where it is. You're
Oklahoma
literally
softball,
playing
another one.
You are literally playing future Olympians on that.
Yeah, those two specifically for the female athletics. That when they leave the Big 12, I will not shed a tear.
Yeah. San Antonio Spurs lose last night to the Timberwolves, 134-122. Rockets fall to the Jazz, 109-101. Mavericks will be at it tonight as they take on the Brooklyn Nets at 6:30 this evening. NFL game tonight. You can find it right here on 100.7 The Score. The Baltimore Ravens are in Tampa Bay taking on the Buccaneers. That game prior to the season looked like a much sexier matchup than it looks now. But Tom Brady, in maybe the biggest funk of his career to this point, taking on Lamar Jackson. This feels like a get-right game for Tampa Bay. Feels like it should be, but I don't know. They've looked really bad the last couple of weeks, losing to some terrible football teams. Baltimore, not that much better themselves, 4-3 up against 3-4. I gave that stat yesterday, Geoff, but there is one winning record versus winning record matchup in all of the NFL this weekend. That's it. Just one where 2 teams with a winning record face off. It's the Giants and the Seahawks.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's not the Cowboys and the Bears.
Nope, it's Giants and Seahawks.
Okay.
Which is
How about that?
What everybody had circled prior to the season. Like, I think most would have thought Ravens-Buccaneers, that's definitely going to be a winning versus winning matchup.
Packers-Bills for Sunday Night
Bills,
Football. That
people
should have been one.
Thought that. 49ers-Rams. People would have thought winning versus winning matchup. But none of those have winning records up to this point. Kind of crazy stuff. So Giants and Seahawks bearing the flag for the NFL this weekend. Kevin O'Banner named to the Julius Erving Award watch list yesterday afternoon. O'Banner, of course, the senior for the Red Raiders. It's a preseason list that features just 20 shooting forwards.
I feel better about this preseason list.
Small forwards, pardon me.
No, I think it's shooting forwards.
It's
says
weird. Shooting forwards, but
I don't know
I've
what
never
a shooting
heard of that. I've always heard small forwards. I don't know if that's
Welcome to the conversation we had the morning drive.
Oh, they said that too?
We had the very same, like,
I'm reading
it says shooting forward.
It says shooting forwards. I've never heard that term. I think it's small forwards. Anyway.
But I feel much better about this preseason list than some others that come out. And I'm not
right, where there's like 75 people on there?
Or 200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one has 20 people on there. So
it's a limited field to begin with. Great. I like that.
I mean, you have 369, I believe that's the number, something like that, 363, 360 plus small forwards as starters in the country right now on basketball teams. And you narrow it down to 20, that is a pretty elite group. So O'Banner played at Tech for his second season here, averaged 10 points and 5.5 rebounds in the 37 starts for the Red Raiders a season ago. And don't forget, you can listen in to Red Raider football with Joey McGuire tonight at 6 o'clock. You'll find that on Double T 97.3. As, of course, he'll get to recap the beatdown win over the West Virginia Mountaineers and look ahead to the Baylor Bears this weekend. Should be an interesting matchup. Of course, the former location of the head coach of the Red Raiders in Baylor. It's been interesting to hear him talk about the Bears. Obviously, a lot of praise there. He's never been one to hesitate to give credit to his time in Waco.
No, not at all.
To mentors, to coaches, Aranda and Rule.
Which, let's be honest, this is, while our disdain for Baylor, and I say our meaning mine and Lucas's, is justified in what has happened in the past there, it has not been with the last two coaching staffs. Like, with regards to problems.
Yep.
There's a certain amount of respect that you've had to have for both of those two individuals, what they were able to do on the field and what they were able to do with the stink, I guess is the way to put it, that you've got to respect a lot of those guys.
Yeah, but that being said, this has been an underachieving season so far for Baylor. They could still get up off the mat and win 5 in a row. And
4. They can wait till next week.
I'm saying they have the ability to win 5 in a row and make it a 9-win season. I don't think I'd expect that to happen, but this was your preseason favorite to win the Big 12, according to the poll. Now, I don't think those expectations were fair for Baylor because they lost so much from last year's team. But even so, it's a team that has not lived up to some pretty high expectations. I mean, they're 4-3 right now. They lost to West Virginia, who is supposedly one of the at least bottom 3 teams in this league. That the one thing that has been kind of constant for Texas Tech, Geoff, is that the Red Raiders have won the games on paper that they're supposed to so far this season, and they've lost to the teams that are supposedly ahead of them, except for Texas. Texas people perceived ahead of them. So,
while I don't think this is true, you weren't supposed to beat Houston.
Yeah, you were. Vegas had you as a favorite.
Did they?
Yep.
Okay.
You were favored in that game.
I'm getting the very small favor from Lucas.
Yeah,
okay.
I think you were 2.5 or 3 by game time. But
okay.
Texas Tech.
I stand corrected.
Well, and you could just look at it through that lens. Tech has won all the games you've been favored in and lost all but one you haven't been favored in. Tell us your thoughts, your comments, questions, all of it. Welcome on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'll get to some of those Coming up next, and take a quick look at the calendar as well. It's the end of the bench. Roll until noon on 100.7 The Score.
Definitely not the starters. You're on the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
On to hour number 2. It's the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score, 107thescore.com, and the 100.7 The Score mobile app, brought to you by Happy State Bank. Alongside Josh Paupel, I'm Chois Woodman. We got Lucas White across the way taking care of us. Keep hitting us up. Your thoughts, comments, questions, all welcome on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'll return to some Tech and Baylor thoughts in a little bit. TCU getting... I don't know what the word is. TCU, with their ticket sales, has been juvenile. I don't know. There's a very sophomoric feel to it.
I feel like this is one of your big topics. I think if everybody had like a molehill to not a molehill, I guess, that's kind of belittling it, but this is one of your big stances. Yeah.
We'll get into that. It's such a weird situation. As more kind of developed from that story. We've known about it for months, but
certainly.
There's been some newness to it as of yesterday. Got some updated odds to run through a little bit later. There's a Russell Wilson story that is out that's pretty wild as well. But first,
I'm excited.
Josh, this is our maiden voyage together.
It is.
We have never done this before. So welcome.
Thanks.
Have you been on the end of the bench?
I've never been on end of the bench before.
Okay, yeah, you've been primarily bottom line because you're so buttoned up.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
That's typically how that works.
Exactly. That show is
what we're known for.
It's special. But so this is our first go round. Should be some fun. Josh is in for the next couple of hours, filling in for Geoff Haxton today.
I gotta tell you, I'm excited. I am a big fan of your dad joke section.
You are.
I'm excited to be here.
I found the one.
I'm
found him.
Excited to be here.
Okay. All right, we've got the one out there. No, it is so split. It is truly like one of those people absolutely loathe it or they love it. So it's one of those, and I'll have people come up to me. I have no idea who they are. Man, dad joke of the day is best. Let's stay in the car just to make sure I can hear it. And then, there's plenty on the chat line that's like, make it go away. Make it go away.
I believe it.
Someone says, add another co-host to the list, Choice. Oh, man. There's plenty. There's plenty of co-hosts over the years. So hopefully I don't get rid of you like there's been some problems in the past. I mean, I ran David Collier completely out of the business. I mean, he was a TV guy for 20 years and ran away.
That's some power.
He's back. He's back in TV, so that's good. But what's your overall feelings towards the game this weekend? You nervous?
I think given the start of the season, you I guess not the exact start, but you got to be a little nervous. But the past couple of weeks has got to give you some hope. Not past couple of weeks, obviously bye week, but past couple of games, I guess is more accurate to say.
Yeah.
I like Baron Morton at quarterback. I like the offense has finally been able to move the ball, and the defensive play. It's hard not to be that in combination with what has been a strength of Texas Tech so far.
Sure.
It's I'm excited for it. Obviously, got to carry a little nervousness with you, but I am excited.
Yeah, I think this one is if you're just going by matchup wise and all of the surrounding for the game, this is maybe the most interesting matchup of the season, at least to this point in the season, because this is where Joey McGuire comes from. There's that. We went over kind of yesterday a little bit. Are there any advantages to it for McGuire? And I think the only advantage you can really put your finger on is personnel. He should know that personnel and maybe some tendencies there more than anybody else. But all that being said, Geoff and I were just talking, Tech really has not lost a game that they're not supposed to. And everything you've been favored in so far this year, you've found a way to win. Some prettier than others, but this is this is a staff or regime that hasn't had that letdown so far. Not saying it can't happen or won't happen, but they've been ready to go every time out.
Yeah, and I feel like that's kind of been the problem with Tech over the past few years is, they've not been, obviously you want to be competitive in every game, but Tech at times has not been, they've lost the games they're supposed to win. And then the difference between this season is, yes, Tech is winning those games, but they're also competitive in the games that they're losing, except for, given a couple.
I think this is the only one, maybe sans Texas. Maybe you could put Texas on the same plane as where Texas Tech is right now. They're more talented. I don't think there's much of a question there. But in terms of overall product, they're a 5-3 team. Tech's 4-3. Yeah. But you've played teams that are above you up to this point, no question. When you played NC State, they were a better football team. When you played Oklahoma State, they're a better football team. They're beat up now. And when you played Kansas State, they were a better overall football team. You lost those games, but this might be, on paper, the most evenly matched game we've seen so far for Texas Tech.
It's exciting.
So it comes down to truly the little things. The little things in this game seem like they're going to be the deciding one. And turnovers aren't little, but that one's going to be one that I think both coaches harp on and both make as a point of emphasis. But I think that penalties could be huge in this game. Someone asked just a little bit ago, could we see this game come down to who wins the fourth down battle?
That's a good question.
That's a possibility as well.
I think the games that I think the Texas game, a big reason was because of the aggressiveness of Joey McGuire in that game.
Yeah. You went and won that game. You didn't kind of sit back on your heels. Tech was able to go get the game by that. This is
the way I asked this question. I asked Clint this a couple of times, but this is kind of an oversimplification of just strategy in general. But I feel like just you can tell how a game is going if your fourth down, maybe like 3 yards, or like let's
sure,
yeah, you're pretty close to the end zone. You're fourth and goal. Do you go for it, stay aggressive, or you just take the points? I feel like you can determine a lot of games like that, and the Texas game was definitely one where Joey McGuire wanted to stay aggressive, and it's kind of been interesting seeing his strategy since then.
It's been a strategy that's paid off, no question. Texas Tech has gained 52 points this year when going for it on fourth down, meaning they've netted 52 points. They've gained 79, meaning when they've gone for it on fourth down, they've scored 79 points after going for it on fourth down on drives that continue.
That's not nothing.
And they've lost 27. So after going for it, when they don't get it, they've lost 27. So you've netted 52 points. The aggressiveness, no doubt, has worked out for the Red Raiders. We'll go through some of the other numbers coming up in this. We got a lot of little tidbits, fun little stories, weird little stories. The Russell Wilson thing, I just can't wrap my head around as more and more about his personality continues to come out over the last couple of weeks. Get to that. We got some highs and lows. Sans Geoff Haxton today. It's the end of the bench on 100.7 The Score.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
You're hanging with the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score, 107thescore.com, and the 100.7 The Score mobile app. Alongside Josh Falp, I'm Chois Woodman. Got Lucas White. Hanging for an extra hour today, Lucas. Now, did you draw a short straw or just what happened?
No, Jackson's out doing the setup for the game.
Okay.
So, but I feel like
you're
in my mindset, I think it's to make up for some hours that I missed.
Oh, okay.
On travel reasons.
I just figured you just wanted to be with us longer.
I do. I do.
That would have been was the number one answer we were looking for.
Nice save.
But you missed on the number one answer. It's okay. You can hit us up. Thoughts, comments, questions, predictions. We'll take your score predictions. Thursday's not too early for this weekend. Red Raiders and Bears de Baylor. We'll look around the Big 12 coming up here in the third hour, as well as a weird debacle with the TCU ticket sales situation. Now, my wife, I bought tickets for my wife, and I believe she's going with her mom. We did this a while back when TCU put them on sale. Whenever I can't remember, they put all their tickets on sale and said you can buy single game tickets for everything except the Texas Tech game. Yeah, you have to buy that in a package.
Yeah, that's right.
So what we ultimately did was bought the package. I think the cheapest game you could get was the Tarleton game. That's the throwaway game. Didn't even try selling those. I think it was $10 a ticket, $20 a ticket. That was the throwaway game. Then bought the OSU game with it. Sold those for probably face value somewhere in there, maybe a little more. Hopefully to OSU fans, but I don't know. It was online. And then the Texas Tech game. So she'll be in the stadium. Got that done. I know a lot of other Red Raiders that have done the same thing, but apparently they're still selling 2-packages. Up until last week or recently, Tech fans were trying to call, and then they're like, "Nah, we're not going to let you have the Tech tickets." So then it comes out yesterday that TCU sends out a faculty-wide email that says if you've got a tcu.edu email, you can pay $20 for a Texas Tech game ticket and get a free ticket to the Iowa State game. TCU is literally okay with losing money on this.
They're giving tickets
This is
away.
just like Texas a year ago for basketball, where they're completely fine with losing money, essentially giving tickets away so Texas Tech fans will stay out. That's what they're trying to do. Tech fans are going to find their way in there. I think you're going to see at least 50% of the stadium in red on this, because this has been a push just like the Texas game of last year in Austin, where there was at least half of the drum there in red. So it's pathetic, I think is the best word I have for it.
I agree.
And what's worse is the TCU athletics director, which I can't even figure out how to say his name because he doesn't matter that much. He comes out and he's like, "Yeah, we're doing this, and expect it for basketball too." It's pathetic. You can't get your own fans in the stadium for the number 7 team in the country, the number 7 undefeated team in the country, and you can't get your fans to show up. So you're blocking off Texas Tech fans from going to the game. It's crazy. You're giving away tickets. $10 is what it comes out to for a Tech Iowa State tickets. $10 a piece for the last couple of games. The number 7 team in the land.
That's wild.
Unbelievable. It seems kind of silly, but I guess you're trying to protect yourself there.
Well, they're in too deep now. They can't let off the gas, especially preseason. We've kept cacti. Sorry, we've kept cacti up here.
Oh yeah, from the get-go
all season.
And they have thrived.
They have
so
to. Well, I think Mike waters them every now and then. Or who does?
I don't know who waters them.
I've seen Mike water
I think
them before.
occasionally we'll just just
drop some in.
dump some in there. And yeah, I think Gus does. And Dickens is pretty good about putting them outside every weekend.
Oh yeah,
so
I've
they
seen
can get
that too.
sun.
Actually, yeah. But yeah, they're in way too deep. They can't let off the gas now. They're just
yeah.
Oh man,
no, they can't. And I don't know. And I know we're going to be focused on Baylor. We'll get back to that. But I don't know what's in the plans for next week. There's got to be a cactus of some sort involved. I don't know if you're just putting a little sticker on the back of the helmet or what, but there's got to be a cactus involved somehow, some way in this road trip to TCU. I've got my cactus shirt. I'm going to wear it on the road trip to TCU. Like I hope dearly that they've got something planned, because it's too much fun. I mean, I love it. I love the feistiness of Tech fans, all of it, but it's just silly. It's just silly. And then TCU sits there and tries to claim, "Oh, we're we're Fort Worth's best college football team, or we're DFW's college football team. You're right. You're like fourth or fifth on the list. There's plenty more fans elsewhere. So we've seen it time and time again. We'll see Tech fans show up.
You say like athletes don't need that bulletin board material, but when you give it to them, they'll take it.
They will take it.
They'll take it.
They will take it and run completely with it. So if you missed it earlier, Texas Tech baseball put out their schedule this year. We'll go over that in a little bit with some headlines coming up. But the season will open on Friday, February 17th against the Gonzaga Bulldogs, a team that Tech has played recently. I can't even – that's all blurring together. I'm trying to remember if that was this year. I think it was this year. You played them at home and swept them, and that was the tournament team from a season ago. So that's the start of the schedule. We'll get to that coming up with a few headlines. Raiders dad said they don't need water. They need sunshine. You got to give them water occasionally.
Yeah.
You can't just –
They're I don't know what exactly the word is, but they don't need a ton of it.
Right.
But they do need
They're still a living organism. Everything needs a little water.
The staff fortunately does take care of them. I have seen them outside.
Yep. Raiders dad said, notice they don't give any other state of Texas school this treatment. They don't care or travel either. Yeah, I mean it's Tech fans should take it as a badge of respect, if anything. Well, respect may be a little strong, but a badge of fear from the other team. They are so scared of Tech fans coming in there and swarming the stadium that they're taking measures to keep you out and literally giving tickets away so you don't show up to the game. It's wild stuff, but it's a reality. We saw Texas do it last year in basketball. I saw TCU do it now, and TCU claims they'll do it again in basketball season. Crazy. All right, more thoughts from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'll get to those after a few headlines, including the Red Raider baseball schedule. That's coming up next on 100.7 The Score.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
So, all right, it's time for some headlines. What you need to know, part of the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score and 107thescore.com. We will start off with Texas Tech baseball. Coming out a little bit earlier this morning, Texas Tech baseball has released its 2023 schedule on the same day that day one of the Red-Black series will be played today. The Red Raiders open the series with a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday series. Open the season with a series that goes Friday through Monday against the Gonzaga Bulldogs on February 17th. That's Friday through Monday. Then they'll play Western Illinois for 4 games. Then Air Force for a pair of games on a 10-game homestand to open up the season. Head south to Houston for the Shriners College Classic. Take on Michigan, Texas A&M, and Rice. As Tech will have 3 down there. Return home for another long homestand. 9 games, New Mexico, 3 against Iowa, 2 against UT Arlington, and then 3 against Oklahoma State to open up the conference season. Pretty interesting to see the conference schedule. OSU and Texas, your first 2 opponents. 2 of the what will be projected as probably 2 of the top 4 teams in the league. You get the first 2 weekends. 3 at home against Oklahoma State, 3 on the road at UT. So, and then I should continue because he got 3 against TCU after that. So probably the other than Texas Tech, the best 3 baseball teams, you open with all 3 of those in conference play. So we get to learn a lot about the Red Raiders early on in conference play. Pretty difficult slate there for Tech. But if you get through that with a winning record, because you got 2 of those 3 series at home, then you got to feel good about your opportunity to win the conference or be in that conversation for sure. OU, the 4th best team, or the next one that had a great season last year, that's the next team you'll play after that.
Just no reprieve.
No. The one road trip that is probably the most interesting outside of conference play is a road trip to Stanford for a pair of games this year. So you'll have that in between a series with North Dakota State and OU, but a road trip to Stanford. Grand Canyon returns their trip. Sam Houston State also coming to Danlaw Field at Rip Griffin Park. But we'll have the entire schedule up for you shortly at 107thescore.com and WT973.com. Texas Tech Soccer's at number 15, Texas Christian this evening as the Red Raiders take on the Horned Frogs. Both teams tied for second place in the league standings. The big difference is TCU's RPI is really high. Texas Tech's is really low. Texas, I think, around 60. TCU's in the teens. So big game for Tom Stone and company. If they win this one, it almost locks up a spot in the NCAA tournament. If they don't, it gets a little more dicey. So big game. Red Raiders on a 5-game winning streak.
Heck yeah.
In Big 12 play. So hopefully Tech Soccer can close out the regular season with another dub. As I mentioned, Red-Black Series starts today at 3:30. You can go check that out at Danlaw Field at Rip Griffin Park. Tomorrow at 3:30 and Sunday at 2. The other games scheduled. Tech Volleyball lost to UT in straight sets last night. Unable to get it done there against the number 2 team in the land. Spurs fall to the Wolves, the Timberwolves, 134-122. Rockets lose to the Jazz, 109-101. Mavericks were off. They'll take on the Nets from Brooklyn tonight at 6:30. And Kevin O'Banner named to the Julius Erving Award watch list, in case you missed that. He is one of 20 small forwards in the country to earn that honor, so a pretty elite list there. And then what's on our airwaves tonight? Glad you asked. Ravens and Buccaneers at 6:30 on 100.7 The Score, or you can head over to Double T 97.3 and we'll have Red Raider football with Joey McGuire from Rudy's tonight at 6 o'clock. Okay, I think I covered them all. A lot of headlines for a Thursday.
Yeah.
But you can continue to hit us up on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Raiders Dad says, on a related note, does anyone know someone with a tcu.edu email? That's a good question. Can we hire like a student to sell tickets to, like give them 10% of the cut on everything? They buy the tickets and you give them 10% more, right? I mean, everybody should be able to hire a student with a tcu.edu email.
You got to imagine there's that. I mean,
someone would be willing to do it. Yeah.
You got to imagine someone's thought of that too.
Right.
So you could probably find them.
So someone's got to know someone else with a kid that goes to TCU.
Yeah.
So we got to make this work.
I do know somebody that goes to TCU.
You know someone that goes to TCU?
He's a freshman.
Oh, even better. Wet behind the ears. They don't know any better. Come on. We got to get this happening. Post it to a message board and let the Red Raider fans go wild. Be like, all right, we'll give you a cut of it, kid. Because for $20, if that's what you're selling these tickets for,
yeah.
I mean, you'll give. I know plenty of fans. All right, I'll give you $30. Give you $30 for it. It's a $20 ticket. There would be a lot that would do that. Plus, you get that Iowa State ticket too. You can sell that off and make your money. Golly, that's unbelievable. But it's where it sits right now. I think that game's got to be close to sold out. I mean, I know they're doing that, but I've seen plenty. The tickets on StubHub and stuff are outrageous. I haven't looked this week, but I'm sure it's pretty pricey if you're trying to buy some tickets to that ball game. Shelly says, Stanford again. Hacks will be triggered. Yeah, that's one of my least favorite series I remember watching at Danlaw Field. It's that Stanford series in Super Regional a couple of seasons ago because they just kicked Tech's butt up and all over the place. It was not a fun weekend. So not necessarily looking forward to that. Because it's not like, all right, we beat you this time. We get the revenge. No, they beat you in a Super Regional. So not quite as fun. All right, let's take a quick look around the Big 12. We've got some good games this weekend. I think I've got one in mind that is the most intriguing to me, other than the one we've got here in Lubbock. See if it matches up. You've got 4 games total, 8 teams playing. What game are you most interested in besides the Baylor Texas Tech game? Got TCU at West Virginia, OU at Iowa State, and then OSU at Kansas State.
Probably OSU at Kansas State.
I think that's most people's answer, but I'm really locked into the bottom feeders with the OU Iowa State game, because Iowa State has had the worst offense in the Big 12 this year. I don't think there's much question about that. They've won what was the score in the Iowa game? 10-7. I think they won a 10-7 game, lost a 14-11, and then lost. I don't remember, in another teens.
They lost a
game.
10-9.
10-9 game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Kansas State. So they've played some very Big Ten-ish games. But OU has so far historically the worst Big 12 or defense the Big 12's ever seen. So far.
That's incredible.
Texas Tech's defense from 2016. Remember the one where Baker and Pat
we remember.
went back and forth? That coming into the season is the worst the Big 12's ever seen.
Wow.
Just going purely off of points per game. I think that defense gave up like 43.8 points per game. Right now, OU in conference play is giving up 46.8 points per game. 46. Almost 47 points per game.
That's insane.
It is. I mean, you look at OU's games that they've played in conference.
Points per game is an average.
Yes. Yeah, they've given up 55 to TCU. 41's the low mark to Kansas State. 41. They gave up 49 to Texas, which definitely took its foot off the gas, and they gave up 42 to Kansas.
That's okay, so I realize how bad they were or are, I guess.
Yeah.
But oh my goodness. I guess I really didn't realize how bad they are. They're not dead.
So that I guess it's my intrigue in this game is what's going to give here. Is Iowa State
historically bad defense, just a bad offense.
Just a bad offense versus a historically bad defense. Can Iowa State go put 30 or 40 points up on OU's defense with that
would be incredible.
That awful offense? Or is OU's defense just still staying that bad? So OU still has Iowa State, and this is in Ames too. Baylor, at West Virginia, home against Oklahoma State, and then Texas Tech. If OU doesn't win this game this weekend against Iowa State, I don't think they make a bowl game.
Which
I
is
don't.
Kind of unheard of for
it is
Norman.
It's nuts. But they go to West Virginia, that's no guarantee. They're probably going to lose to Baylor. Almost certainly going to lose to Oklahoma State. And a good chance they lose here in Lubbock. If they can't beat Iowa State this weekend, I think OU's not getting to a bowl game this year. So that's why now obviously the ranked matchup in Kansas State, Oklahoma State is extremely attractive and a great one to watch. It's the end of the bench. Back to more of your thoughts next on 100.7 The Score.
This has been the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score. Go to 107thescore.com for more from the Double T Sports Network.